begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
We all know that privacy is out of the window. We all know it's gone for the most part. I know that if I say the right collection of buzzwords, then that will trigger some response from the NSA to watch this video, and that's okay, you know, YouTube money, more views. But regardless, it is a hot debate right now, and people are freaking out. People are saying, we want our privacy back. We don't want to be spied upon by the government. This is fucking ridiculous. I want to be able to have the ability to not be fucking tapped 24/7. And I hear you, man. I fucking hear you. But, in my opinion, from what I've seen, people are okay giving up their privacy. Look at Facebook, MySpace, Twitter. People, for the most part, are completely okay giving up their privacy. It's when the government starts watching that people have a problem. And here's my logical reasoning why. I might be logical, might not be. But the government watches us, but we don't watch the government. The watcher does not have anyone watching them. You know, it's completely ludicrous to say, okay, everyone in America or Britain or Australia or Canada is going to be tapped. All their information is going to be put in some box in some facility somewhere, and if we ever want to bring it up, we fucking will. But at the same time, we rarely get a glimpse behind the curtain at what our government is doing. We rarely get to see the backroom deals and the, you know, with the cigar smoke in the air where the politicians are, you know, brooding about making that weird fucking deal. We don't get to see that, but they get to see us. And in my opinion, I would be okay giving up my privacy if I knew that the government was equally giving up their privacy. Because the idea of government is it's ran by the people, not the representatives, but by the people. The representatives simply represent our interests. So why do they have one set of rules and we have a different set of rules? That doesn't make any sense to me. And that just creates a greater divide between the populace and the government itself. And that's, come on, man. Are you fucking kidding me? Come on. It's ridiculous, in my humble opinion. And I think what would happen, and I know some of you guys would say, you know, if we knew everything that went on in government, you know, the whole world would, you know, run amok. People would freak the fuck out because you don't want to see all the atrocities that are going on all the time. You know, it's already bad enough with the news. But here's what I think would happen in this transparency idea. I think if we were able to see what the government was doing to us, and we were able to see the backroom deals and the corruption, and they were able to see what we were doing, which they already are, it would create this understanding that, you know, we're all a little fucked up. We all have weird thoughts. We all post some weird shit. We all look up weird shit. You know, we all watch porn, and then at the same time we say, oh, you should never watch porn. Oh, I believe in Jesus while I'm jerking off to, you know, some weird fucking preteen on YouPorn. That's just weird. It's weird, and it happens, and it's just simply the nature of our species at the moment. And I feel like if this transparency were to really be across the board, we'd have this greater understanding of each other. And I know it sounds idealist, I know it sounds a little hippie-ish, but, you know, we'd have to come to grips with the fact that we're all a little fucked up. And on top of that, I would add one little side note, that the law should not be so aggressive. I feel like people have a problem when the government watches them because they feel like the government's going to come out and get them. Like something bad's really going to happen if they do this one minor bad thing and somehow it gets online. And I see where people are coming from because the law is very, very aggressive, and I don't think it should be that way. I feel like the law should be passive in a sense, you know? For instance, let's say two people were having a street fight, and everyone around them was comfortable watching it, and the two people fighting were comfortable and they agreed upon the terms. What's wrong with that? Why should the law interfere? If anything, the law should be passive. The law should only come into question when there's a legitimate dispute. When two people legitimately have a problem and then they call upon the law to solve the issue. But the law should not, this idea that we have of, you know, this legislation should not go out and aggressively search for people that are barely breaking any laws at that. They're barely harming society. They're not even doing anything bad. So it's really, really fucked up. And it's such a hot debate, and you know, when you look at the nature of Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, it's a given that we're okay giving up our privacy, because we do it. We do it every single day, and we know that we're doing it. It's just a problem when we think that there's the boogeyman behind the door who's going to come out and get us, rather than have an understanding of us. And as a government and as a populace, we should be conjoined. We should be understanding through and through of each other's nature. And until that is reached, I don't know if we're going to ever solve this debate. You know, we're eventually going to get to the point where these cell phones, right? You know, Samsung Galaxy S4, right? It's a cool fucking phone. The S5's out now. The new iPhones are coming out. But I mean, how much better can it really get before that shit just goes straight into your head? You know, how much smaller can these phones get? How much more high-tech before it's like, okay, we're just going to input this shit into your bloodstream, and then it'll just pop up in your eyeballs, or maybe you get a contact lens or something. Regardless, phones are very, very quickly integrating into our bodies. And, you know, privacy is going to become even more of a question when that happens, you know, when mind-to-mind communication comes into play. And I know that sounds a little nutty, but I've seen quite a few articles that say mind-to-mind communication is only like 10 years away. That science is quickly getting to this point where I'm going to be able to think a thought to one of my friends who may be in fucking Oklahoma, and then he's going to be like, oh, hey, what's up, brother? And we'll just have a conversation in our thoughts, and that would be really, really cool. But then the question becomes, oh, well, should the government be able to listen to your thoughts? Oh, my gosh, Jesus. If anyone heard the recklessness that I project into my head on any given moment, it would be disgusting. But I think if everyone was understanding of, you know, if we were able to watch the government, if we were able to see what these politicians think on a daily basis, we'd be like, okay, yeah, he's just as fucked up as me. He's just as weird as me. He has his own sadistic, weird thoughts and his kind and positive thoughts. And until that understanding is reached, until it becomes more symmetrical in the sense that we can watch the people watching us, you know, we're going to have problems. And you can see it already, you know, whenever there's a new whistleblower, whenever WikiLeaks comes out with something new, or, you know, the latest Edward Snowden, or the latest Glenn Greenwald article. The government freaks out. The NSA is not comfortable revealing themselves, to my understanding. And they get all hot and bothered when these leaks come out. But at the same time, they're making sure that they're spying on you 24/7, saying that you should be okay with this when they're not okay when their shit gets leaked. When we start looking at what the government's doing. So, you know, it's a hard ball to unravel, but at the end of the day, it really does feel like privacy is at a point where it can't come back to me. Maybe it can, but, you know, I'm much more comfortable giving up my privacy when I have the choice to do so. You know, if I knew that, you know, the people that look at what I do are not going to freak out and throw me in a cage because I may post some weird shit on the internet, I'd be more than happy to share my information with the government if I knew they were benevolent, if I knew they were looking out for my best interests. Unfortunately, that's not the reality of the situation. It sucks that we have to say that, especially when the government is supposed to be ran by the people for the people. But who knows, man? I think it's going to get there. I think the world is turning into a better place, and I think this privacy debate is only going to get hotter and hotter and hotter as technology speeds up. Because what's going on right now, if you really think about it, you know, we have this old paradigm, this old way of doing things, and it's clashing against the internet. And all the internet really stands for is simply communicating with each other in a super fast and efficient way, spreading ideas instantaneously. And typically, when it comes to the internet, when it comes to sharing ideas, when it comes to talking to people, the best ideas rise to the surface, and the worst ideas sink to the bottom. So all of a sudden you have a nation of people communicating with each other, reading books, watching YouTube videos, empowering themselves, and then it goes up against this really old, archaic system that we built hundreds of years ago. And typically the ideas that come out of the internet completely go against what the government puts out, what our current system of doing things is. You know, our current system has worked for a long time, but it could totally be revamped. It could totally be better. And that's, I think, where this privacy issue kind of stems from. It comes from that same type of idea, where if the government was really understanding, if, you know, the government was on Reddit and they understood the nature of human beings, if, you know, they could read through YouTube comments and say, yeah, you know, sometimes people get a little pissed off and they say, fuck you, you know, you should burn in hell, I hate you, blah, 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 because we see that negative shit on YouTube all the time. And we forget that the government is the same. You know, that's built of the same people that comment on YouTube videos. We're all of the same pie, man. It's not black and white. It's just different shades of gray. So, I don't know where we ended up here, but I think it's an interesting debate nonetheless. And at the end of the day, I'm okay giving everything up as long as the people I'm giving it up to are in my best interest, are serving me and I'm serving them, and we're working together. But if that's not the case, then I'll take my privacy, please and thank you. Anyways, I love all you guys. I'll check you on the next one. We got abortion in the motherfucking pipeline. More heavy shit coming your way. I love you guys. Peace.